I'm Dan Hunt, and this is Up Close and Personal, the show that takes a look inside of our guest. And right now, we're going to have a guest today that takes a look inside everybody else. Kelly Fisher,
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having
Now,
me.
Kelly, you're a life coach and a hypnotist.
I am.
So,
Yeah.
so do you do the two things together, or could I go to you for just life coaching or just hypnosis,
Absolutely.
or is it kind of a package deal?
They work well together because usually it's a 75-minute session, so the first hour is kind of like life coaching. We really figure out what's going on. Last 15 minutes of hypnotherapy. So I blend the two together.
You blend the two together.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So on this show, Up Close and Personal, we're going to talk a little bit about what you do now.
Sure.
We're going to talk about hypnosis pretty much in depth.
Right.
But before we do that, I want to take a look at Kelly.
Uh-oh.
Like, who the hell is Kelly, okay?
All right.
You're a guy with a hat.
Yeah.
You got tats all over the place. I mean, you're got a lot of things going on. You
Yeah.
grew up in Chicago.
Yep.
Tough guy.
Well, I don't tell suburbs of the west side, but yeah, Chicago.
Chicago. My wife
Tough
loves the
guys.
pizza there, that deep dish
Yeah,
pizza.
it's addictive. It's scary.
It
It's scary.
really
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
It
it's
really
good.
is.
Good stuff.
So tell me about your childhood growing up. What was it like growing up in,
And,
the south side of Chicago?
Yeah, it just couldn't be more typical, more normal.
Mhm.
Playing hockey growing up, going to playing baseball, just jumping ramps on my bike, trying to beat Evel Knievel. I mean, just especially like when I spoke to a couple of friends back in Chicago recently, and my wife asked me like, how do you deal with people's hard traumas like that? And I listened to it and I said, God, I had an amazing childhood. My friends go, we had a rough childhood. I'm like, no, we had it was buttered toast. It was it was smooth going. My dad would whistle when the streetlights came on and we went home. It was just suburban.
All right, do me a favor. Take yourself back to high school.
Okay.
Okay, your senior year.
Uh-oh.
Now, I want you to remember your prom night.
Oh boy.
You probably got in a little bit of trouble in your prom night, but remember your prom night.
Yeah.
The state of mind you were in then, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, lead singer in the rock band the rest of my life. My hair was down to here.
So when you were in high school, your hair was down to here?
Yeah.
Yeah, your brother told me, I think it was different colors too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Well, that was afterwards. I kept it one color in high school. When I went to Hollywood, then we started dyeing it and coloring it.
Purple hair,
Yeah,
and
purple and
you had it
pink,
all.
and just total glam band. It was
So back into your high school days, did you have a hero?
It's funny you ask. I remember being conscious at like 9 or 10 years old, going, "What do I want to do with my life?" And
Right.
I grew up playing hockey in Chicago. I said, "Do I want to be a hockey player or do I want to be a lead singer in a rock band?" Kiss was my favorite band. Do I want to be Paul Stanley or Keith Magnuson, basically? And I thought, well, there's a whole hockey team of a whole lot of people. 25, is it? The rock band, there's only 4, and I'd be the front guy. Let's try that out. Let's go that route.
So that's the road you went down.
Yeah.
Now you told me a story about your friends. They did one of two things. Tell me that story.
Yeah, as soon as we graduated high school, half of them went off to college and half of them went off to the Army. And I thought, guys, I got to pack up my equipment and go to Hollywood. Neither one of those paths worked for me.
They didn't work for you.
No, I was singing in basement bands in Chicago and just, we're doing like half covers. I'm like, I don't want to do covers. Let's write original stuff. So I'm like, I got to go to Hollywood where it's happening.
That's where it's happening.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on a big album? Have you ever done an album yourself?
We were on a couple of compilation ones that went to Japan. They were actually going to sign us in Japan. It was supposed to be Sony. They didn't want to tell us, and we were 2 weeks away from getting our passports, and the bass player and drummer got cold feet and quit. I hunted them down in Hollywood. They left town. I couldn't find them, but I said, why wouldn't you just go and get signed and then come back and do whatever you want? The bass
Right.
player's like, I want to be a singer. I'm like, didn't you think about that before you picked up the bass? So, I had a couple big gigs. Like I think I told you, my last concert was in Arizona in front of 10,000 people,
Right.
outdoor stadium. Felt like Steven Tyler from Aerosmith running back and forth. It was fun.
It's really powerful being on stage
Oh
like
my
that.
God, yeah, it was no regrets. That's all I'm saying.
None
No,
whatsoever.
No.
So you packed up, you left your family, you went to Hollywood to be a singer.
Yep.
How'd that work out for you?
I joined a band the first 2 weeks I was there. I was there 3 months, and I was playing a headlining gig in front of 1,000 people. So it went like
You
crazy.
just boom, boom, boom.
Wildfire. As soon as I entered town, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened? Why aren't you doing that now?
That band again disbanded. Had to get other people in. Then the bass player and drummer was the next generation. They left. Me and another bass player formed another act, and that's when we got to Arizona and
Right.
a bunch of big gigs. We had a manager. We had an independent label that was supposed to get us in Europe, and independent label called us up, said, "Yeah, we went bankrupt. We went under." I'm like, "Oh my God." They paid for all kinds of studio time. We recorded new tracks, and they're like, yeah, we got this European gig lined up for you. You're already selling CDs out there. And I just, so all of a sudden that fell through. I'm like, wow, this is a series of trapdoors.
Maybe the universe telling you something.
Yeah, it's tough when you get so close, right on the edge, and just things outside your control change it.
Right. Yeah. So is that when hypnosis came in, or how did hypnosis come into your life?
I know. I think the first time we had this downtown rehearsal space where the only time everybody was off work was from like 12 midnight to 6 in the morning. So we'd go down every night to rehearse. I get home at 6 in the morning. It was Sunday morning. I heard this guy on the radio, and he's talking about higher consciousness, and then I heard Alan Watts right after that, which blew my mind. And it turned out this guy that was talking about higher consciousness, he was actually in town. And so I took a 5-year course with him that was called Ageless Wisdom. It was amazing. And then he was a hypnotherapist. So I went to a handful of sessions with him privately, and we did a couple past life regressions. It was just amazing. I said, I got to go do this. Right around that point when I was leaving the band, I got into personal training because I always exercise.
Right.
Being a singer, you got to run around on stage. That's a lot of wind. So I went into personal training because it was natural. I used to train hockey team in Chicago. So when I was going into personal training, I wanted to do weight loss through hypnosis. So I went to HMI, Hypnosis Motivation Institute, became a certified hypnotherapist. So I wanted to open my gym. It was going to be a mind and body thing, a new angle on the whole thing. So that's where the hypnotherapy came involved.
Okay. And then the life coaching, how does that come in there?
Well, life coaching just kind of overall, the more I learned about how the mind works and started helping a lot of people, I thought, there's certain patterns that I start piecing stuff together. And I think that's what they call life coaching. So I do like life coaching, and then we do the hypnotherapy part, which makes it much more powerful because we put it in the subconscious mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of tattoos there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
Let's do it.
the thought process behind. What's your first tattoo? Where the first one?
God. First one, I think I got a rose on my back because my 16-year-old girlfriend had one. So I came over to the pool one day. I'm like, look. She's like, I can't believe you did that. I'm like, what? I thought that would be like our wedding ring, That was my first.
You ever talk to her now?
No.
No. Do you remember her name?
Okay, of course, Ann.
Ann.
Her name was Ann.
And this is Kelly.
No.
He's got a rose on the back.
I covered it up.
Covered it up. Okay. So tell me about the process of getting the tattoos. Basically you have a whole sleeve here.
Yeah, I do have a whole sleeve. This is my childhood flashback arm.
Your childhood flashback.
Yeah, so I got the game Centipede. Paul Stanley, who I wanted to be. There's a microphone up here.
Yep.
Matchbox City cars I used to play with. Evel Knievel, my hero, right there. Big Wheel, of course. I got Blackhawks, Keith Magnuson's number, who I wanted to be. It was either Keith or Paul. Those
One of those
two
guys.
people I wanted to be when I was growing up. So yeah, and another Blackhawks symbol up here. I got the whole Gumby and Pokey family up here because that's what I grew up playing. And
right.
I brought the band back together. I got the Blockheads back here, so I got the whole band. So yeah, it's everything that I grew up.
Any regrets on the tattoos?
No. As a matter of fact, I got a lot of blank spot over here. I got to fill. So
You just want to keep going.
Absolutely. The story continues.
It's just
Yeah.
okay. That's the story. I think that's great. I think it's an awesome thing. So let's really get into what you're doing right now.
Sure.
Your day. You told me you get up in the morning and you go to the gym and you have some training people.
Yep. I do some personal training in the morning.
And then you go and you suit it up and you
Yep.
go into the office and start doing life coaching and
Put on the
hypnotherapy.
Superman cape and go back to the office and change people's lives. Yeah.
So let's talk about that process. I mean, where do people get a hold of you? How do you become a customer of Kelly's? And why?
Right.
Why should I become a customer of Kelly's?
Yeah. I have a bunch of online training. I have free online training where the people can opt in and get free meditations.
Okay.
bestanxietysolution.com. But I have a 6-week online training program called Anxiety Solution, where over the course of my career, I realized everyone that came in with a problem had anxiety about that problem. So I'm like, why don't I put together the anxiety solution? Then we could fix that problem much easier. So they could find that online. I work at a pain.
Now that's a paid course.
Yes. Yeah. That's
Okay, so they
6
go
weeks.
online. It's a 6-week
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
And let's just dig into that a little
sure.
bit.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so the anxiety solution.
Right.
So tell me about anxiety. I mean, is it fear based? Tell me about what you're seeing most people
Yeah.
have with anxiety.
Interesting you ask, because when I first started putting this program together, I looked everywhere for a definition of anxiety. Mayo Clinic, everyone said, well, anxiety, I'm like, no, you can't use the word in the definition. Even I know that.
Yeah.
While anxiety is something normal in everyday life, it happens. I'm like, no, it's not supposed to be normal. So my definition from working with people is where you're physically at in the universe and where your mind is in the future, and that gap, That's anxiety. I teach them to control, reduce, and end. All your power is now. That's the only place you have power. You don't have power in the future.
Okay.
Stuart Wilde called it etheric leaning. When you're etherically leaning, trying to
Leaning,
get that,
yep.
then your heart rate picks up, and then you're
Right.
out of control. You're
Yep.
trying to fix something you could never fix. That anxiety gap, I bring it down. I show them how to control it through breath work, through body work.
Okay. So people that have anxiety about being successful,
Sure.
people that have anxiety about getting that next job,
Yep.
about their show, about whatever it is, all of these type of people, you feel that you can help them.
Yes. Yes, the mechanism we use is a thought, feeling, emotion mechanism, and you're off kilter somewhere. When you have a thought, it automatically fires a chemical. I call it the river of thought.
Okay.
You feel that. So it's a thought, feeling. You feel the chemical emotion, the chemical neurons firing up, rather. It emotes out through the body. The system, everyone in this whole blue marble works on the same system.
Right.
So you're cut off somewhere there. You're overloaded somewhere there, whether it's emoting out, oh, they're so emotional. Or they can't even think about doing that. They can't even get their thoughts straight. And they feel, and the feeling part is in the middle, so you could feel your thoughts or you could feel those emotions. So you're out of balance somewhere. So no matter what you're trying to do, get on stage, do this, do that, we got to fix that system that's broken.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, does that follow through with meditation?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know you and my wife were having a conversation
Sure.
about meditation, and she's got this thing right now where we'll listen to a tape at night before we go to bed,
Yeah.
and before that tape hits the 10-second mark,
Right.
she's asleep.
Right.
She's
Right.
out.
Right.
So talk about that, because I know, in Patty's and my teaching in our Law of Attraction course,
Right.
we talk about meditation and we talk about the difficulties
Right.
that some people have with medication or
Right,
meditation.
right.
So tell me, let's just talk about Patty in general.
Sure.
Her problem right now is that when she tries to listen to a tape and meditate, she
Right.
falls asleep.
Right.
So she's not getting the oomph out of that meditation.
Right.
So tell me about that. Tell me
Right.
what you could do to help a patient like
Right.
Patty.
Well, falling asleep's a good thing. A lot of people have that problem. I have a whole other program.
Right.
Fall asleep instantly. But what's happening is, first of all, like I was talking to Patty, I said, "Are you lying down flat?" Yes. Your subconscious mind is programmed for sleep. That's what you'll do every time.
Okay.
I tell my clients, when you have your head 12 inches above, 12 inches above your heart, so you're setting this, I do a lazy boy chair. That's what I have in my office.
Right.
And you're setting a signal automatically to your subconscious mind that something different is going on. We better pay attention. And then I teach them to set up as a ritual, whether you want to use incense, whether you want to use, go in the same place, use the same headphones. You don't need extra things to do it, but
Right.
but the subconscious mind goes, oh, we're going to that chair again, getting the headphones on. Boom, you're almost there to begin with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that just brings me to the thought of, our kids. So I have kids that range from 21 to 35.
Right.
And that's that millennial group, man. And they don't listen. They don't pay attention to anything. Their attention span is like
Yep.
boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
How do you, yeah, exactly. Let's look at the phone. Let's look at the phone. So how do you accomplish relaxing those kinds of people and those kinds of minds?
Ooh, that's a loaded question.
I know it
That's
is.
That's a tough one. I just got a new client in from Virginia, and he flew from Virginia, flew his son in from California. He's like, we're meeting in Las Vegas. I looked up hypnotherapists, and I found you. Can you meet at the Bellagio? I said, sure, absolutely. Met him. My 20-year-old, he moved out to California, quit college. I think he's doing a lot of drugs, and we can't get through to him. I'm like, this sounds like an intervention. What are you going to? We need a plan to get him into the office. He's going
Right.
to freak out and run when he sees the office, for
Right.
God's sake. So I do this like CBD thing on the side, because it really helps lower stress levels. And I said, listen, tell him that you might be interested in the company, and it'd be good for him since he's not going to college anymore. And, we needed an angle to get him in.
Right.
And so when I got him in the office, I just talking to him on the way over here, his father. And I said, listen, the best thing about it is your son is highly intelligent. He's highly aware. And a lot of times kids can't handle that. He's like me and his father, aware of everything. And sometimes it's just too overloading. So they escape through drugs. And
Right.
I said, he's not just a dumb drug kid. That's the good news. And I said, as far as the marijuana goes, I said, when he was talking to me about, he was in cybersecurity for college, and he says, the government's watching us. I don't want to work for the government. They're watching us all the time. He's like, aren't you scared of them watching you? I'm like, you can follow me all day long. I don't care. I'm not doing nothing wrong. But his paranoia, I told him that paranoia, that's what we got to work on. There's something that triggered that. All behavior serves a purpose.
Right.
We don't act anything out unless it's serving a purpose, good or bad. And I said, this fear that he has that everyone's watching him, it's something that triggered it. He was at a party, maybe dropped some acid. Somebody told him something. I'm like, there's something going on that it's really ingrained in him for being 20 years old.
Right.
So we haven't got him back in the office. He wanted to do a Skype session with me. He doesn't want to do that. To his father, he told me, and I was honest with his father. I said, listen, you have to be prepared if this is going to last 3 years, 5 years,
Right.
the rest of his life. You really have to be prepared because the harder you push, the harder he's going to go away.
He's going to go away.
Yeah, so
It's just
we got to
that
handle this
reaction.
with kid gloves. I said, give him a soft ultimatum in the next 2 months that you can't afford his lifestyle out there in California anymore, so he has to come back. But don't talk about drugs.
Right.
Don't talk about drugs. I said, this is a normal transition. When kids go out on their own, spread their wings, now you got to pay for your own apartment.
Right.
I mean, it's a normal transition. Think of it without the drugs. And then if you can bring them back home after that, then you could work on, see who his friends, who he's hanging out with, and I said, there's a transition that, I told him, I said, the hardest thing parents have is going from parent to friend. There's that gap from 16 to 21, somewhere in that area. You have to handle it with kid gloves. You have to start being a friend and not being a parent all the time.
Right.
It's the toughest transition that parents go through, and that's where he's at.
Who's your ideal customer? Who's the person that needs Kelly?
A woman just started 2 days ago, and her anxiety is just, it won't let her sleep. It won't let her, I mean, she's having a panic attack. She's freaking out all the time. And I love working with everybody, but when I see people hurting, I mean, my goal in life, that's why I'm here, is to end mental suffering. I really believe that. And without no ego, I mean, to whatever degree I can have that effect.
Right.
And so when I see someone suffering that bad and I have the answers, I'd love working with them. I mean, our first session, she was like, looking at me like, God, nobody ever understands what I'm going through. I'm like, I get it, trust me. So, yeah, somebody that's really hurting, can't hold a relationship, can't sleep at night. Just I know what they're doing. I know what's going on internally, and I could change that for them.
So I understand you got a book too. You got a
did.
book. You finished it.
Finally.
The editors are having it.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Do you have a plan for it yet?
I don't. But I'm just happy I got it finished. Took me 3 years, for God's sake. I was in a series of 3 other books called Awaken Man, a Wake Up
Right.
series, rather. And when he asked me to write for his book, it was just 2,500 words, but to be a co-author with 20 other authors. And I finished it in a couple of days, and I thought, I only have 3 chapters left. What am I doing? So it's called Weight Loss from the Inside Out. Combines both of my careers. I've worked with so many women in the gym. I say women because they're more emotional and say what they're really actually feeling.
Right.
Men don't. And they look in the mirror like, oh, I'm so fat and ugly. I'm going to be this way the rest of my life. I'm like, no. It's listening. Don't.
Yeah.
I said, by the time it actually gets the vocal, what you have to think about and feel and then actually speak it, your whole system is listening to this. You can't do this no more. So that's the premise of my whole book.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is great, and it's really right in line with what Patty and I are doing with the Law of Attraction. And your thoughts and your feelings,
Sure.
they're real.
Yep.
They're energy.
Oh, it's real. It's as real as it gets, yeah.
I'll tell you, it is as real as it gets. Okay, so you have 3 courses online right now, right?
Anxiety Solution, Fall Asleep Instantly, and I have another course for infidelity, for women that are going through infidelity. I have this, they get a free PDF and then they get some videos.
Okay, so that one hit my wife really. She said, I'm falling asleep. I'm getting better. Then let's talk about the infidelity course.
Okay,
real quick.
sure.
What is that all about?
Well, I've seen so many women that were going through this, and I kind of like the stages of loss.
Right.
I took that model because I call it stages of infidelity because they were all going through the same hurt, anger, revenge, reconnection, and pivot. So I call it HARP, HARRP.
Okay.
This is the system they go through, and so when we finally get to the revenge part. If they get to me soon enough, I let them know that that's just going to take a little more. Don't go that route. But then the reconnection, I reconnect them to something that they're really proud of in their life, and I program it in. It doesn't seem anything to do with infidelity, but when you have a trigger from your husband or he says something, you can reconnect yourself to really know who you are,
Right.
and you don't have to go that route again. And then once you get that so in control, then you could pivot.
Then you
Move
can pivot
forward,
and move forward in with
Yeah,
the rest
I've
of your
had
life.
women that pivoted with their husband, had another kid.
Right.
Had women that pivoted without. They said, "I'm moving out. I
You're
feel
done.
I got my strength." I give them their power back to
Wow.
make the choice whether they want to stay or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it again. You got sleep.
Yes, fall asleep instantly. Yes.
And that pretty much works for anybody that is out there that has sleep issues.
Yes, it's all about brainwave frequency. Your brain is racing at night. It's why people can't sleep. So I said, well, if you're going to go through what you did that day and what you're going to do tomorrow and all this other stuff, I said, why don't I condense that into a system where let's take it 7-10 minutes and go through it.
Right.
Couple good things you did well, couple things you're doing tomorrow, and then I call it giving it up to your higher source. I don't like to use the word God because, I just, whatever you give that to, say, I've done my work tonight. I'm giving it up to you, and I'm going to sleep.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's great. And the link for that is in the description right below what we're looking for.
Excellent.
So that's the sleep course.
Yes.
And then the second one is
Anxiety solution.
anxiety solution. So those of you that have anxiety issues, that is a 6-week course, you said?
6-week course. Yep.
That's a 6-week course, and the link for that is below.
Yes.
And if you're a woman, now does it work the other way around? For men?
Absolute- oh,
The
absolutely.
infidelity piece?
Yeah.
So if the woman is out there, that works too?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
We're
so
still
it's not
working-
just for the women going out, it's
No,
for the men
yeah,
going,
yeah.
okay.
Just more women come forward with the complaints. So
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those 3 courses we have, you're going to look for the book, and once that book does come out, we'll have a link to that. Maybe we'll
Absolutely.
even have you back.
That's awesome.
And we can talk about that book.
Sure.
So all of those are available right below you here at the links below on the Law of Attraction page, or the Up Close and Personal page.
Nice. Very
Kel,
cool. Yeah.
thank you so much for being
Awesome.
here.
Yeah,
I
thank
truly
you.
I
Thank
appreciate
you for
having
having
you here. What a great interview, and
Yeah,
great work that you're doing here.
Thank you, yeah.
And you're located physically in Las Vegas.
Yes. Yep.
Okay,
Got
so
it
you're
all
in the
brick
Las
and
Vegas
mortar
Valley.
here in Las Vegas. I do Skype sessions all the way across the country with people. So yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
How great is that?
That's awesome.
So thank you so much for being
Yeah.
here. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
And to all of you, whether you have anxiety or you can't sleep or not, I want you to have a great rest of today and an even better day tomorrow.